Welcome, dear friends, and let me tell you a story of love that blossomed amidst the sharp divide of wealth and circumstance, where pure devotion changed the fate of an entire family. Enjoy the story. Claudia sighed heavily as she counted out the last of her coins. Lisa, I'm afraid I'll need to borrow from you again this month to make ends meet. Her wealthy neighbor Lisa clucked her tongue sympathetically. Of course, dear. What's mine is yours during these tough times. Lisa handed over a modest stack of bills. With Henry's city job and my income from the store, we have more than enough to help your family. Tears welled in Claudia's eyes. As a widowed mother of 5, making ends meet was a daily struggle. I don't know what I'd do without you, Lisa. Lisa patted her hand. Have you given any more thought to my suggestion? Marrying off Kathy to that wealthy farmer Michael could secure all your futures. A mute husband twice her age? Claudia furrowed her brow. I'm not sure, but he's kind and wealthy beyond anything Kathy could dream of here, Lisa insisted. It may be your family's only way out of poverty. After a long pause, Claudia finally nodded. You're right, I'll discuss it with her. A marriage proposal? Kathy gasped, nearly dropping the grocery bags. Lisa nodded as they strolled through the town market. From Michael, the wealthy farmer over in Oak Ridge, he'd take wonderful care of you, and your marriage could lift your entire family out of poverty. Stunned, Kathy fell silent for a moment. But I don't even know him, and isn't he older? Not too much older than you at 30, and his wealth more than makes up for any age gap. Lisa gave her a knowing look. At least agree to meet him? After a reluctant pause, Kathy sighed. I suppose it can't hurt. She had no idea that her life was about to change forever. Claudia flitted around her humble home in a frenzy, straightening every surface until it practically sparkled. It has to be perfect when Michael and his father arrive, she fretted, adjusting the dried flower vase for the 100th time. Her youngest child, Tommy, looked up from his toys with a frown. Why's it got to be so fancy for some dumb farmers? Claudia shot him a stern look. Mind your tongue. If all goes well, Michael could soon be your brother-in-law, and his prosperity could change all our lives. She smiled wistfully. I just want Kathy to have a better life than I did, than we all did. With a resolute nod, Claudia hurried to make sure everything was perfect for their prospective new family member's arrival. The door swung open, and Michael entered, his powerful farmer's frame filling the tiny home. His deep blue eyes twinkled as he smiled warmly at Kathy. An extremely wealthy landowner, Michael made his riches exporting the bountiful crops grown on his family's acres in Oak Ridge. As his father droned on about their prosperous farm, Michael's gaze never left Kathy's face. So as you can see, Michael comes from good stock and has everything to offer a wife, his father boasted. Your daughter would want for nothing. Though struck by Michael's good looks and gentle presence, Kathy felt incredibly shy and intimidated by his age and bearing. When his father prompted Michael to sign his affections for her, she could only blush deeply. As the night drew on, Claudia noticed Michael had eyes only for her daughter. She felt a flicker of hope that this arrangement could truly secure her family's happiness. The dew-kissed meadow was awash with colors as Michael and Kathy joined hands, smiling radiantly despite their inability to verbally exchange vows. After only a 3-month courtship, they were husband and wife at last. Claudia beamed as she watched through joyful tears, while the two small towns of Oak Ridge and Appleton celebrated the rarity of such an elaborate joint wedding. Appleton had never seen such splendor, as Michael's wealthy family blanketed the festivities in the finest delicacies, decor, and entertainment. Though excitement danced in Kathy's eyes, nervousness flickered across her features as the evening wore on. Soon, she would be alone with her new husband, intimacies to be shared that she could scarcely fathom. Kathy jumped slightly as Michael took her hand, leading her across the threshold of his family's palatial farmhouse. His warm smile and reassuring gaze instantly put her at ease. Once in the bedroom, Michael reached into his pocket and pulled out a tender handwritten note. My dearest Kathy, we shall go no further than you wish tonight or any other night. Patience and your comfort are my only desires. Happy tears sprang in Kathy's eyes as she hugged him fiercely. Michael stroked her hair, his own eyes shining with pure devotion. That night, cradled in her husband's arms, Kathy felt safer and more cherished than she ever had before. She knew her family's hardships were finally over. Over the next year, Michael and his father spared no expense transforming Claudia's ramshackle home into a manor befitting the affluent in-laws they now were. They gifted the family with cows, chickens, crops, and more provisions than they could ever need. Kathy spent every waking moment learning sign language so she could communicate with Michael, and his consideration and adoring gaze made her fall deeper in love each day. The only lingering worry was her secret fear of having a deaf child. But for the first time in her life, Kathy felt truly secure in the lavish home and wonderful husband she'd married into. Michael had kept his vow to always put her needs first. Kathy awoke to Michael gently shaking her shoulder, his eyes sparkling with excitement. She quickly dressed and followed him outside, just as the first licks of orange peeked over the horizon. Watching the incredible display of colors splashed across the morning sky, Kathy couldn't stop the contented tears that slid down her cheeks. She squeezed Michael's hand tightly as a kaleidoscope of breathtaking hues danced before them. No words were needed to convey the pure love and appreciation shining in Michael's eyes as he watched her experiencing her first country sunrise. In that perfect moment, Kathy had never felt closer to her husband or more grateful for the life he'd brought her into. Straightening the freshly laundered linens in the bedroom, Kathy paused when she heard the murmurs of Michael and her father conversing through sign language in the next room. She knew she shouldn't eavesdrop, but something compelled her to peek through the cracked door. Her blood instantly ran cold as she watched Michael's solemn expression and urgently moving hands. "Cannot keep her trapped here any longer," he signed fervently. "Kathy deserves someone she can truly love with all her heart. I must set her free, no matter how it pains me." With a strangled gasp, Kathy fled from the door as silently as she'd come, her heart shattering into 1,000 pieces. This whole time, Michael had never believed she could truly love him. She'd been living a lie. That night, Kathy paced the bedroom anxiously, awaiting Michael's return from working the fields. When he entered with a warm smile that quickly melted into concern at her pale features, she could hold back no longer. "Is it true?" she demanded, fighting tears. "You want to set me free because you think I can't love you?" Michael's eyes widened in shock before realization slowly dawned. After a long pause, he finally nodded slowly in weary affirmation. Before he could summon another response, Kathy suddenly shrugged off her robe, letting it pool at her feet. Michael's eyes flashed with panic, pleading with her not to do anything reckless. But Kathy stood before him utterly unashamed, opening her arms in full acceptance of him as her husband. "I'm yours, Michael. I never want you to free me." She grasped his hands, pulling him to her and kissing the beloved curve of his jaw. That night as they came together, no sound or language was needed between them. Only the indelible physical expression of their love and Kathy's acceptance of Michael, just as he was. Their bodies joined as one in complete unity, abolishing any lingering doubts or insecurities between them forever. When they finally parted, chests heaving and souls laid bare, Michael cradled Kathy's face in his calloused hands. Tears of joy and wonder glistened in his eyes as he gazed upon his wife with unconditional adoration. No words were needed in that sacred moment, but the message was as clear as the dawn. Michael at last understood he was truly, deeply, eternally loved and accepted by Kathy. A soul-filling peace seemed to wash over him then, and he pulled her into a tender embrace, silently thanking whatever providence had brought this extraordinary woman into his life. "The babes finally arrived," Claudia exclaimed breathlessly, throwing open Lisa's front door without preamble. "Oh, Lisa, she's the most perfect cherub you ever laid eyes on." Lisa hurried over with a bright smile, clasping her hands joyfully. "And Kathy, how is our dear girl?" "Utterly radiant, despite the pains of labor. That golden son-in-law of mine hasn't left her side through it all." Claudia sighed wistfully. "When I think of the prosperity and love he's brought to our family." Tears sprang in Claudia's eyes as she pulled Lisa into an embrace. "My grandchild shall want for nothing, all thanks to Michael taking my Kathy as his wife. Any fears I had about her marrying someone different have melted away like morning dew under his devotion. Lisa beamed, squeezing her friend's hands. I'm overjoyed to see your worries put to rest at last, after so many years of struggle. Your little family is finally reaping the rewards you so rightly deserve. Hand in hand, the two friends made their way to the manor to welcome the newest arrival. A tiny life ushered into a world of love, wealth, and acceptance beyond her grandmother's wildest dreams.